Hello there. In this video we're going to show you how you can make your own personalised bracelet by adding your name to it as shown in the image on the screen there. So if you start Fluid Designer up, first thing we've got to do is to go to the bracelets folder. We're going to use this 65mm by 1 bracelet. So we just drag and drop that onto the workspace. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some text and place it inside the circle here for this 65mm bracelet. So what we're going to do, well, if we view it from the top, we're going to use a Harrington font. So if I just click Group Library there, that just refreshes the panel here. So I'm going to use alphabet Harrington font, so I'm going to use these letters here, and I'm going to spell out my name, which is Paul. Now I don't want to drag and drop these onto the workspace, I want to append them. So if we go to File and Append and just go through the menu system until you get to the Groups folder, we're going to use the Harrington font, and we want to spell Paul, so Harrington font P first of all. And as is always, we want the object, so it's Harrington font P object. We append it from the library. And then if I just click on it, and if I just move it to the left slightly, so I can add in the other characters. So repeat the same process, go to File and Append, up through the menu system. Now we're in Harrington fonts, so we want Harrington font A, and we want the object, Harrington font A object, and append it from the library. And then we can just reposition it wherever we want, just ensuring that it overlaps. And then we want a U, so it's File and Append, up through the menu system to Harrington fonts. We want a U. Again, we want the object, so it's Harrington font U object, and append that from the library. And again, we can move that round and position it wherever we want. And then finally File and Append, up through the menu system, and we need an L now, and the object Harrington font L, and append that from the library, and again just move that to there. Okay, now what we need to do here now is we need to highlight these 4 objects and join them together, so that the L is highlighted at the moment. You can see the yellow around it. If you hold down the Shift key and select U, A and P, you can go to Tools, Object Tools, and you can join them all together. Now when you're creating objects like this, notice this bit here. This is actually the control point for the object as a whole, so we can move it from that position there. Now that was in fact the center of mass of the P, the letter P. Well, we've now joined all of these letters together, so one thing that's sometimes useful is to go to Tools, Object Tools, and set the origin to be the new geometry of the 4 letters, not just the letter P, and you see it moves to there. And you can also go to Cursor and snap the selection. Well, the Paul is what's selected at the moment. Snap the selection to the cursor. Well, this circle here is at the very center of the screen. That's the cursor at 0. So if we snap the selection to the cursor, Paul is just placed right in the middle there. So if we go to View and Top now, you can see that the word Paul is right in the middle. But we want to put it here. So what we need to do is we need to rotate it. We need to lift it upwards effectively about the red axis, that's the x-axis. We need to rotate it upwards so that it's at so that it's in the same plane as this circle here. So I want to lift it up 90 degrees, so we can do that by rotating it. So if I press the R key on the keyboard, and then I press the X key to limit the rotation to the x-axis, and if I type 90, I've rotated it through 90 degrees. Now if we just join this object to the bracelet, a couple of things won't work, but let's just see what happens. So the Paul object is highlighted. If I hold down the Shift key and select the bracelet, and if I go to Tools, Object Tools and Join, couple of things, well, several things are wrong here. First of all, the Paul is spelt backwards now. If we look at it from the inside, it says Paul, but not from the outside. So what we need to do is we need to rotate it 180 degrees. And we want to rotate it about the blue axis, that's the Z axis, so that it reads the right way round. So that's one thing we need to do. The second thing is it's sticking out on the inside here. It's not in line, directly in line with the bracelet, because it's offset. If I just go to View and Top, you'll see that these lines here are offset, and they're offset for a reason, that when the thickness is applied, the thickness will just touch the x-axis. And that's what we need to do with this name Paul as well. We need to adjust it so that the bottom of it just touches the x-axis. And we could also make this a bit smaller, but I'll just do two things at the moment. So if we go to View and Top View, now if we undo the join, so we can go to Edit and Undo, Edit and Undo, that puts the Paul back at the centre there. Now do click on it and make sure it's highlighted properly with the yellow line around it. So yeah, first of all what we'll do is we'll rotate it about the Z-axis. So if I do R on the keyboard and restrict my rotation to the Z-axis, I want to rotate it around to there, so I'll type 180 degrees. So now it looks like it's backwards, but it's just the way that the curve function works that it flips it around. So that's the first thing I need to do. So Paul should be the right way round now, and if I view it from the top, you'll see what I mean is that the bottom of the word Paul here is not just touching the x-axis. So what I need to do is to click on there and just drag it up so it's now touching the x-axis. So Paul is highlighted. If I hold down the Shift key and click on the bracelet and go to Tools, Object Tools and Join, you'll see now it actually does join it properly. I can read the word Paul, and also it's not sticking out on the inside or the outside. It's taking on the same thickness as the bracelet, but the location of it is accurate now. So the only thing that I could do is I could scale this down so that it fits inside. Now to do this you've actually got to do it by trial and error. Okay, so what we need to do is to undo and undo the join. Make sure we click on the word Paul. Now to size it down we can press S on the keyboard to scale, and I could type in say 0.9 and then enter. Now whenever you scale in Fluid Designer, if you're scaling a curve, and this object is a curve, you need to do Control A on the keyboard and apply the scale, and notice the thickness of it just changed slightly as we did that. So we can now test to see whether this will fit in here properly. So highlight the two of them, Tools, Object Tools and Join. And as you can see it's still a little bit too big, so I could scale it down again, or in fact I could accept it as it is and allow for that overlap there, because I think it does in fact look okay. But if you wanted to scale it smaller and get it to fit in, you would have to just keep repeating that process of undo, S for scale, scale it down, always do Control A and apply the scale, and then try it again, and you just have to go up and down until you get it to fit exactly. But in essence that's all you need to do to actually create a bracelet like this and personalize it by putting in your name. And remember that once you've created this object, you don't want to actually save it. We always go to File and Export in Fluid Designer, and we generally save them as wavefront objects. Save it to the desktop, and it's a 65mm by 1. 1 means the circle, one circle there, and it's got the name Paul in it as well. So we would export that to the desktop as an OBJ file, and then remember, you've always got to take that OBJ file and run it through Netfabb Basic, which will do some minor repairs to the object, but make it into a format that's 3D printable, and it'll still be an OBJ file, but you'll just save it from Netfabb Basic. Okay, so there's your there's the completed bracelet now, and that's it. That's the end of this video lesson. Thank you.